So this is a long video. I got the idea to do one of these long compilation videos from a viewer and put 2 hours worth of my SpongeBob lore videos together in one big video to help people sleep. I don't know, that's a big thing on YouTube now. You don't have to sleep while watching this, but I have edited out the outros to each video to save everyone's eardrums. 124 Conch Street might just be the most recognizable house in all of television. Everyone knows who lives in a pineapple under the sea. SpongeBob's house is so iconic, and its interior is proof of great design choices. Every room in SpongeBob's house is memorable, and most people will probably recognize each one of them. Upon entering the house, we see the living room, which is beautiful and so nostalgic. There are 2 other doors in the living room, one leading to the kitchen and one leading to the stairs to the 2nd floor. There is also a laundry room somewhere, I think it's on the 1st floor. But the 2nd floor has iconic rooms such as the bedroom, the bathroom, the workout room and the library, which is definitely the coolest one. And then we of course have the roof, which is seen occasionally. And I think that's all of SpongeBob's house. There isn't anything... What? Garage? SpongeBob has a garage?
Hey!
So, if you didn't remember that SpongeBob had a garage, I don't blame you. Not even the official SpongeBob Twitter knew about it. The garage is definitely the part of SpongeBob's house with the least appearances. But we actually see SpongeBob's garage as early as the 2nd episode of the show, Reef Blower. In this silent episode, SpongeBob goes to get his reef blower, which is, well, in his garage. He opens the garage door and we get to see a tiny glimpse of the inside. We do not see much, but it looks to be quite a big room. Now, why he has a garage is a good question. We all know Bro does not know how to drive at all. Now, either it's here he keeps his little pedal bike thing, the unicycle, that he rides sometimes, but what I like to think is that he is just so determined to get his driver's license that he already has a garage. Like how people get cars before their license just as motivation. Having money helps, I guess. Now, SpongeBob's garage is not a one-time appearance thing. We see it next time just a few episodes later in Naughty Nautical Neighbors, when SpongeBob and Patrick are blowing bubbles in SpongeBob's backyard, which we have never seen. Obviously we got the garage door, like here, but what is that other door next to it? SpongeBob doesn't have a door from his living room to his backyard, right? So where does this door lead? I'm pretty sure it's not to the garage actually. It's probably just where the door in his kitchen leads to, since the door is next to a window to the outside. Don't remember him ever using this door though.
Tartar sauce!
As we can see, SpongeBob still has a garage here, but when he finally gets his driver's license briefly in season 2, No Free Rides, he parks his boat on the street. This doesn't make a lot of sense from a reality perspective, but like a lot of things in this show, it's just here for convenience. Mrs. Puff needs to sneak up and steal the boat for the plot, so of course SpongeBob is gonna park outside. If SpongeBob needed to take his car to work for some plot point, he would park his car in a big parking garage that would magically appear near the Krusty Krab. That's just how SpongeBob works.
I'd better take the shortcut! Mr. Krabs!
But then if we jump very much forward, all the way to season 11, we can see 2 things. 1, the show is not as good anymore, and 2, there is another episode where SpongeBob gets a car. In Drive Happy, he doesn't get his license, but instead a self-driving car, which doesn't require a license. And where does he park his car?
Oh, that was the best day of non-driving ever. Coop, is there anything I can get you? Warm glass of oil, triple foam conditioner?
I'm fine. Good night, Mr. Squarepants.
Good night, Coop.
in a parking spot that has never been there before. It's also so funny that for some reason it just needed to be on this side. They removed Squidward's house from the episode for this parking spot. It should be right here, right? Why didn't they just put it on the other side? Like the other side of the house where there literally is nothing but sand? Or even better, why not just put it in the garage? Oh yeah, because SpongeBob needs a reason to bring his car inside the house when it starts raining. And it can't rain inside the garage. You see what I'm saying? The reason we have barely seen SpongeBob's garage is because SpongeBob as a show retcons anything for plot convenience. I guess we'll have to wait for an episode with the right setup to finally see the inside of SpongeBob's garage. Except we already have.
You know, Patrick, being in a band gives you the liberty to dress with a little more... how should I put this?
Yeah?
In Krabby Road, the second episode of the Season 6 premiere, SpongeBob, Plankton, Squidward and Patrick start the band together, and just like that one app, guess where they go to practice? That was fucking terrible. In one shot we see from the outside as the garage door is rolled up, and funnily enough, the door next to it is gone here. And that door was not a one-time thing, it has appeared after Naughty Nautical Neighbors in Season 9's The Fishbowl. But then in Bunny Hunt, 2 seasons later, we see the garage without the door. Even if this is confusing, SpongeBob's second window at the front of his house disappears in like every other episode, and like we discussed, not even Squidward's house is safe. What's important is that the garage is here, and we get a good view inside of it.
Go ahead, say it, SpongeBob!
You know, pizzazz!
So I was almost right about the bike thing. He has a bike here, but it isn't his unicycle, but a random bike like the one Squidward rides sometimes. I was first about to say that if this was Season 1, his unicycle would be here instead, but I was surprised to see that the unicycle shows up throughout the run of the show, even in this season. But this other bike is here anyway, maybe he stole it from Squidward. And we also have the workbench and the tool hanger thing that we saw in the garage's first appearance in Reef Blower, which is cool. That's about it, honestly. They spend half the episode in here, but it's always more zoomed in shots. The shot from the outside is the closest we get to an overview of the garage.
The best kind of lyrics are the ones that are deep and revealing. Something only you know? A secret recipe!
I once searched for my innermost secrets. All I found was this.
Something really interesting we see in here though, is that there is a door that's not the garage door. Now, having a door from the inside of the house to the garage is kind of normal, but what makes it interesting is that they enter through the garage door. Now, this is also normal for bands practicing in garages, especially when it's like in someone's family house, so they can just move in and out easily without having to like actually enter the main house. But SpongeBob lives alone, and he does not feel like the type of person to like force his friends to enter through a specific door. What I mean by this is that every other time in the show when Patrick goes to SpongeBob's house, he enters through the normal door. Why wouldn't they all just go through that door? It gotta be faster if they got a door right here inside the garage. Like to just walk through that door instead of walking all the way around the house. Unless this door leads somewhere else. Because realistically, where in the house would this door like open to? Like we said before, the living room has 2 doors. One leads to the stairway and the other to the kitchen. There is no other door here, so it can't be from here you go to the garage. Then the kitchen has the door that leads outside, this being the inconsistent door next to the outside garage door, and another door in here that leads to the stairwell, at least sometimes.
Guess what's for breakfast? That's right!
So what I was thinking is that this door in the garage leads to some other room we haven't seen. Because without any doors on the bottom floor, it shouldn't be able to lead into any of the like known rooms. Now, there are 2 arguments for why this wouldn't be a new room. Firstly, the very inconsistent nature of SpongeBob's house and the show as a whole. If they opened this door in the episode, it would probably just lead right into the living room, and it would either just be a new door, or he would come through one of the existing doors. Because doors are inconsistent with where they lead as well. Going by just the early seasons, it should be possible to go on like a whole route through the entire house. Like you don't have to go through the same door twice to go through the entire house and out again. And the second argument kind of ties into this because a few minutes later in the episode, after Squidward gets buff enough to join the band, he runs to the rest of them, but unlike them, he enters through the main door instead of the garage door. Now, we don't see him enter the garage from like entering the house, but they start playing their instruments off screen, so it's safe to assume Squidward got to the garage through the main door. So, as I was editing, I realized that there is another episode that shows the inside of SpongeBob's garage, which kind of makes a lot of the things I've said redundant, but we're gonna talk about it anyway, right here, wherever it fits. In Sharks vs. Pods in Season 9, SpongeBob goes into the garage through the door, like the door we've been talking about. We don't see him enter the door, but it's presumed that he got to the garage through this door. So in the garage we see the tool bench, the hanger for the tools. Above that there is like some paint stuff. There's some paint stuff in another place. We have what I think is a unicycle here. It looks slightly different, but I think it's a unicycle. And then he has a license plate, which kind of proves my theory about that he already has a license plate. He already has a garage without even having a car. So this was really surprising. We still don't see him enter through this door though. I'm gonna just go back and check. No. What we do see, however, is that there is a third door here. A door on the other side of the room, so it's closer to the main door that you enter the house through. It's a door with like a swimming ring or whatever it's called on it. That from how the episode plays out here, you'd think that's where he enters the garage, but that doesn't make any sense with how it's positioned. You see, it's like right next to the window, so if you go there, you should just be on the outside. But SpongeBob is not a show that makes sense. What I thought was that this door leads to his second bathroom, because in some episodes he has a second bathroom that's on the like first floor. I'm gonna have to go back into editing and check this, but for now this is like a big discovery for me, like when I'm almost done editing the video. So of course this got even more confusing, because the second bathroom thing was something I read about on the SpongeBob wiki when I first researched for the video. So I went back and figured out that it was in the episode Gary Takes a Bath, which was the episode I used that screenshot from. And then I went back and watched the episode, and okay, I'm just gonna pull it up here so I make sure I don't say like anything wrong, but we see, I'm gonna play the clip on screen, because we see the door with the swimming ring in the background as SpongeBob throws the toy. Then Gary runs forward on the first floor, and then he gets to the bathroom. So now, not only do we have the door that you enter the house from, the two doors that usually are there, this new door with the life ring, and also this, it's not even a door, it's just an open bathroom that's on the first floor. And I thought that was it, like, okay, so we don't know what's behind this door with the life ring, it gotta be the garage. But no, because later in the episode, when SpongeBob does the whole pirate thing, you know, the classic don't drop 'em joke, when they are going treasure hunting, then he opens this door, and then there's stairs there. So now the stairs are in this door, but in this episode, like right before, we also see that, wait, okay, look at this screenshot and tell me it's not super confusing. Now it's in the kitchen, and then, and where does this door lead? Where does this door lead? Like the one, oh, I have no idea what's going on. This got, like, I'm going down a rabbit hole. So that's basically the canon explanation for this weird door in SpongeBob's garage. It leads to the rest of his house, even though we still have no idea which room you will enter upon opening the door from the garage. And it's mysteries like this that's so interesting to me with this very long running show. There is a similar thing with SpongeBob's library that I would like to take a look at in the future as well, but for SpongeBob's garage door, it's gonna be unsolved until we finally get to see the inside of the garage again. But I think the main thing to take away from all this is that this man has a garage without a car. SpongeBob's house has always fascinated me. It's one of the coziest homes I've ever seen in a TV show, and ever since a kid I wanted to live there. It's one of those cartoon houses with like way too much space inside, which is a concept that also fascinates me. I've talked about probably the rarest room in SpongeBob's house before, which is his garage, but there is another room that is so interesting. SpongeBob's library is a very mysterious room that confuses me a lot, and today we're gonna talk about it.
Hey!
So to be honest, I had kinda forgotten about my promise to talk about SpongeBob's library that I made in my video about his garage. But now that video is starting to blow up, kind of, and I get tons of new comments on it, showing that it's just not me who's interested in this stuff about the show. Also, for everyone saying that like houses usually come with a garage, they usually come with floor as well, and they are usually made out of something that's not pineapple. SpongeBob's library has appeared more in the show than his garage, but it's still a location we do not know much about. Over the course of the show, it has appeared in 19 episodes, which sounds like a lot until you think about the fact that there's like 500 episodes altogether. But I was still surprised myself at the number. 19 episodes? Maybe we should know more about SpongeBob's library. And hopefully we will after this video, cause we are talking about SpongeBob's library. So the library first appeared back in season 1 in the iconic episode Boarding School. Or I don't know how iconic it is, maybe it blends in a lot with the 50 other Boarding School episodes, but this one is probably my favorite of all of them. So SpongeBob has failed his driving test for the first time on screen, definitely not the first time in this world. He is really sad about it and talks to Patrick on a walkie-talkie, who tells him to get out of bed and get to his closet for a surprise. Very interestingly, SpongeBob then goes through this door right here and slide down to the library. So not only do we know that SpongeBob for some reason has a closet in his library of all places, but also that to get to the library you go through this door that's in his bedroom. Just the aesthetic of this shot in the library is amazing, like there's just such a vibe to this room.
I'm at the closet.
Listen carefully. What's pink and square at the same time?
I don't know, Patrick.
Patrick SquarePants!
SpongeBob sits down in this chair, which means, you know, there's a chair in the library. It's interesting though that SpongeBob's closet here has a lot of his pants, cause if I'm not mistaken they are usually somewhere else. Patrick spends the rest of the episode in the library, but we don't get much more of like a view of it. It's season 1, so not a lot of wide shots or anything. However, we do see that Patrick reads SpongeBob's diary in here, proving that SpongeBob indeed has books in his library. Groundbreaking stuff I'm coming up with here. The next episode we get to see SpongeBob's library in is Suds. SpongeBob's dumbass leaves his fridge open and it freezes his whole house, including his library. It's really nice here cause we get another view of it. We see stuff in here that is actually going to be used in future episodes. Keep in mind that the piano was here already in season 1. Then there's this shell fireplace which looks really cool, and then this hilarious painting of SpongeBob back here. Or is that maybe some ancestor or something? Cause a self-portrait doesn't feel like something SpongeBob would have really. We know someone else who loves self-portraits though. Squidward's house deep dive in a future episode maybe? Now, just to clarify, the scene in Sleepy Time where SpongeBob goes into Gary's dream is of Gary in a different library. There might be some similarities, you know, books, but it's pretty clear this is another place. The library appears one more time in season 1, which is in the last episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2, but here we just see a bookshelf as Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are helping SpongeBob in here. Then moving on to Season 2, SpongeBob's library appears in the first episode, Something Smells, making it technically appear in back-to-back episodes, which is kinda crazy. SpongeBob thinks he's ugly and retreats to his library to play his piano, or is it an organ? Anyway, it was here in Season 1 already, like I said, so that's cool, it's being used now.
Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
This is probably the best library scene of the whole show, if that means anything. I like this episode so much, it's just hilarious.
That didn't help at all.
Just do what I do when I have problems. Scream!
Then we move on to Season 3, where we see a new chair in the library in New Student Starfish. Then we are on to post-movie SpongeBob already. Yeah, like I said, it's not in a lot of episodes. In Season 4's Have You Seen This Snail? When Gary has ran away, we get this very sad but very beautiful detailed shot of SpongeBob listening to the Gary Come Home song in the library. And it looks to be the same chair from New Student Starfish. And we see SpongeBob sitting in this chair in The Thing as well. Interestingly, looking out of a window that's on a bookshelf. That's just classic SpongeBob logic right there. Season 5 is the first season to not feature SpongeBob's library. Literally unwatchable. Moving on to Season 6, we got Nautical how do you pronounce that? Novice? Where SpongeBob is going to a boating museum with his boating school class and wanna impress Mrs. Puff by knowing stuff about boats. So he goes into his library to find this book about the history of boating. Interestingly, in this episode, just like every single one since boating school, there is no slide in here. Which of course prompts the question of how he gets into here if there is no longer a slide from his bedroom, so there gotta be some other way. Next we got Grooming Gary, where SpongeBob goes looking for Gary to take him to the pet show and finds him in the library. It's nice that the piano/organ is still here, and this room does seem to look very similar from episode to episode. Where's the slide though? Here we see a jellyfish painting in what I first thought was a different part of the library, but then we see the conch fireplace is right there, so SpongeBob just replaced the self-portrait with the jellyfish painting. But now we got some important stuff in Shell Shocked. This episode starts with SpongeBob waking up to a crash sound and being scared, going to investigate. And he goes through the door in his bedroom, and there we got the slide again. For the first time since Season 1, it's back, and that means we know that this is still like a valid way to get to the library. But then something interesting happens. He goes through this door here that seems to be... This takes him to the staircase that leads down to the bottom floor. This is very interesting just because that's not usually how it works, I think. This staircase usually leads to his bedroom, I'm pretty sure, and not the library, unless it's like two different staircases. And if SpongeBob's bedroom is on the top floor, then he goes through the slide to get to the library, like going one floor down. And then now there's a staircase to get to the bottom floor. That would mean his house actually has 3 floors, and this is confirmed in a YouTube video on the official SpongeBob channel, which shows every room of the house. From this video we know that there are 3 floors in SpongeBob's house, with the library on the 2nd floor and the bedroom on the 3rd floor. In Single Cell Anniversary, we get the 4th appearance of SpongeBob's library in Season 6. In this episode, Plankton seeks help from SpongeBob to help impress Karen on their anniversary, or more so to get the formula that she has stolen and won't give him, but they end up in the library anyway. This scene does not give us much of a view of the library since it's very zoomed in, only cutting from this angle of SpongeBob in the chair and Plankton on the floor. Moving on to Season 7, we have everyone's favorite episode, A Pal for Gary. When SpongeBob's new pet goes crazy and chases Gary through the house, they end up in the library, where we first get a nice shot showing the jellyfish painting, the organ, and a window in a bookshelf. I'm just really proud of the show when they keep stuff that don't matter to the plot of the episode. Especially with the new episode, it feels like they spawn in old items in random places as references, but here this room looks pretty much the same as it did 6 seasons ago, which is great because, you know, they are referencing, not referencing, but they are like using old episodes as references for how stuff looks. Something important here also is that SpongeBob is sleeping in his bedroom, so he's not hearing them. And Gary was on the bottom floor before ending up in the library. So unless like they like rampaged through SpongeBob's bedroom, they probably didn't go through the slide and instead, you know, went through that staircase we saw in Shell Shocked. The library catches on fire as Puffy Fluffy, that's the name, right? Goes crazy in there, and we get the return of SpongeBob's closet in the library. And at the top there it kinda looks like a hatch. Is that how you get up on the roof maybe? But that doesn't make sense since it's like above this would not be the roof, it would be his bedroom, right? And then the slide is here as well. SpongeBob's library is surprisingly consistent. To tie it all together, Gary runs into the garage, which is an appearance I think I didn't mention in that video. And then a bit later SpongeBob walks down through the slide to see the destruction. We see a new version of the library in Inside Job when Plankton goes into SpongeBob's brain, which is organized like his house. And then there is like a one-shot appearance of the library in Yours, Mine and Mine when SpongeBob opens the door to the slide in his bedroom, and we see that. We can see if we like zoom in that, I mean, when he opens the door we see that's the library, you know, but we knew that already. Then we got Season 8, which only has one appearance of the library, which is in Glove World RIP. This episode actually starts in the library. We got the Season 1 self-portrait painting back, and now a statue as well. It's really only here to get destroyed when this cart from Glove World bursts through the wall. Here we also see multiple windows. Or I don't know if... is 2 multiple? Matter of fact, what does multiple mean? Like more than 1? Or does it have something to do with being like multipliable or something? Anyway, I wanna know where these windows like lead. Like where is he looking out at from his library? We know one of them probably points towards his neighbors, at least from the thing, but the other one's new. No library in Season 9, but in Season 10 we have sports, where after getting a bunch of sport equipment, Pat and Sponge go to the library to try and figure out how to use it, and we get a more high quality view of the SpongeBob painting. Still not sure if it's him or another Sponge. He has a mustache, but I mean, it's a painting. And everything is still here as well. Then we get to Season 11 with the episode Library Cards, and this is intriguing because we got an entire episode set in the library. Patrick enters SpongeBob's house and walks up the stairs that we have seen in Shell Shocked, and he meets SpongeBob at the top. He asks what this secret room is, and SpongeBob says it's not a secret room but his library. I mean, you can't really blame Patrick for not remembering stuff, I guess. His whole thing is being stupid. And he of course doesn't even know what a library is. We cut to them in the library. Do I know how to pronounce that word? I feel weird every time saying it, like library. Library. Anyway, the windows in the bookshelf are still here. One of them kind of works as a lamp, but I guess that could be just like sunshine coming in. Patrick consumes a lot of knowledge by reading a lot of books, which changes the infrastructure of his brain, as all the new words need space in there. Unfortunately, this means his head has gotten so big that he can't fit into the door that leads to the staircase. They try all sorts of stuff, but nothing works, resulting in them having to make Patrick stupid again to shrink his brain. And SpongeBob sucks out all of the words to get them back into the books and like restoring everything back to normal. Sadly, we didn't really learn anything new about the library here, since pretty much every frame was just them in front of a bookshelf. Then in season 12 we got Swamp Mates, which starts with SpongeBob reading Gary a bedtime story in the library. Funnily enough, here the statue that was destroyed in Glove World RIP is back, and he still got the sponge on the wall. But once again, the scenes of the library are all in the like same angle as usual, so we still don't know what's on like the other side, I think. In the season 13 episode Friendiversary, we get the return of the slide, which I think is the first time in, what is that, like 7 seasons? Which is great, but we still don't know how the library looks in like full view. We do kind of get that in one of the SpongeBob video games, which is a Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. You get to like the library through a door in SpongeBob's bedroom, but here it's just like it's round and there's like bookshelves on every side, so there's no slide, there's no items in here, so really not much to take away from here. So what does this all mean? That SpongeBob has a library. So this might be my dumbest video yet. Oh right, never mind. But I promise, this is something I've actually been thinking about for a long time. Which way does SpongeBob walk to work? Hey! We of course see SpongeBob go to work in the first episode of the show, Help Wanted. SpongeBob leaves his house and goes to our left, like the left from our perspective, past both his friends' houses to end up at the Krusty Krab. So that's it then. Case closed. It's not quite that easy. But the next time we see the Krusty Krab is in Plankton, when Plankton has mind-controlled SpongeBob, and he once again goes past his neighbors' houses, or like right through them, to get to the Krusty Krab. But then we got Employee of the Month, when Squidward and SpongeBob are racing to the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob leaves to the right, straight from his house. And while Squidward was kind of blocking the door, it would really not make sense for SpongeBob to run the wrong direction to get to the Krusty Krab first. And in SB129, when Squidward tries escaping from SpongeBob and Patrick, who are standing at his door, he sneaks out in the back, but then runs past them to get to the Krusty Krab. And so he, if you like, the perspective is kind of weird here because it's from the other way around, right? But the way he's going is past SpongeBob's house, because from this angle SpongeBob's house is on the left and Patrick's is on the right. So once again, no reason to walk behind them if he could just walk the other way, like SpongeBob did in Help Wanted and Plankton. In Suds, SpongeBob rolls past Patrick's house, and that takes him to the Krusty Krab. But in Squid's Day Off, when Squidward gets paranoid and keeps running back and forth from his house and the Krusty Krab, he comes from this way, to the right. Then in Big Pink Loser, it kind of looks like Patrick and SpongeBob are running in a straight line from Patrick's house to get to the Krusty Krab. I don't see them turning either direction here, and to make things even weirder, we get this scene in the season 4 episode Bummer Vacation.
I'm ready, vacation. I'm ready, vacation, vacation, vacation. Hey, Gary.
SpongeBob just goes in a straight line from the Krusty Krab, and not only does this take him to his street, but it takes him like straight to his house. It looks like he's on a road that just goes from the Krusty Krab to his house without any turns or anything. But then, 2 other times in this episode, we see that the Krusty Krab is to the right of his house, because he once goes to the right, and the other time Mr. Krabs is driving him from the Krusty Krab, and he comes in from the right. I don't know what's going on here, but Bummer Vacation is like one of the weirdest episodes of the whole show, so maybe shouldn't count. But the road straight towards the Krusty Krab was something we saw in Help Wanted as well. When SpongeBob looked at the Krusty Krab, he was on a road leading right forwards to it. but like the frame before that, he was just standing on sand. I'm mentioning this cause usually the road to the Krusty Krab is just a short one that leads out to the main road that's horizontal, like the one on Conch Street. In Club SpongeBob, Squidward rides his bike to the left, past Patrick to get to work, and in My Pretty Seahorse, Squidward leaves his house once again with his bike to go to work, but this time he goes to the right, passing SpongeBob's house in this very unusual angle. I feel like this is the only time we have ever seen like such a wide shot of the road on this side. I can't even remember any time that this side of SpongeBob's house was like shown in other episodes. When he walks to the right, he usually just teleports to wherever he's going, but here we see a lot. SpongeBob and Mystery, the seahorse, ride past Squidward and straight towards the Krusty Krab. Not on a road this time though. The reason this is extra interesting is because of a little thing called the chum bucket. Them going like this means that they went straight through Plankton's home, which is kinda rude. It's not that relevant for the video, but it's interesting how many episodes just removed the chum bucket from existing. But with how there's a newer episode where Squidward's house gets removed for a singular parking spot, it shouldn't really come as a surprise. In Plankton, we actually saw that the chum bucket might not be straight across from the Krusty Krab. It kind of looks like it when Mr. Krabs throws Plankton over there, but then when SpongeBob walks home from work, he walks past it like this.
See you tomorrow.
Good night, my boy!
It might be a stretch, but the way he walked made it seem like it's at least not right across, since it's no road on the other side here to the Krusty Krab. But we are not analyzing that for now, so back to SpongeBob walking to work. In Sailor Mouth, when Patrick runs to snitch on SpongeBob for swearing, they both take a right turn out of SpongeBob's house to run to the Krusty Krab.
Don't worry, SpongeBob, I understand. Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs! Mr. Krabs!
Patrick! Patrick, no! Please don't tell!
But you said...
And in Just One Bite, Squidward sneaks past SpongeBob's house to run to the Krusty Krab as well. And then in Can You Spare a Dime, SpongeBob jumps out with Squidward and his whole bed to run to the right to the Krusty Krab. Lots of running. But then we got Missing Identity, where SpongeBob walks by Patrick to get to work. Now, we don't see his house here, but when they recreate this same interaction to find SpongeBob's name tag, we do see that Patrick was standing by his house.
Hi, Patrick. No, wait! I'm Patrick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's try it again.
Meaning SpongeBob walked to the left to get to work that morning.
Hi, SpongeBob. The SpongeBob! Who's SpongeBob? I said SpongeBob!
A possible explanation for all of this is that Conch Street is located like straight forward from the Krusty Krab, but since there is no road that way most of the time, since the chum bucket exists, you can take either way from SpongeBob's house and end up on either side of the Krusty Krab. Which would explain why we have seen SpongeBob and Squidward come to work from either side of the Krusty Krab. If we jump forward to Season 9 and the episode Lost in Bikini Bottom, the two Krusty Krab employees leave to the left, and then we see that if they keep walking on this road, they are gonna end up on the left side of the Krusty Krab. Actually, the first time it's a straight line, and then when they look again it's more of a curved road, but still on the right side. However, in Dying for Pie, when Squidward drives for like maybe the only time in the show, it's from the left side. But then in Squidward in Clarinetland, he rides this thing from the front, where there now is a road. In As Seen on TV, SpongeBob even looks to go to work from behind the Krusty Krab, so I mean, yeah, there's just a lot going on here. In Skill Crane, when Squidward has lost all of his money, he crawls home past Patrick's rock from the left, but then when he runs back to the Krusty Krab, he runs like straight forward from his house, once again making a case for that, like, running straight forward is a shortcut, since both ways on the Corn Street Road are going around to get there. In Funny Pants there is a road again, and poor Plankton has once again been evicted by the bad continuity. Then in Krusty Towers, both Squidward and SpongeBob go to the right to get to not the Krusty Krab but the Krusty Towers. However, that's just the Krusty Krab with extra floors, so it still counts. In Gone, SpongeBob walks home from the Krusty Krab to come home, like, from the right side, and the same happens in Yours, Mine and Mine. I could keep going on about every episode where SpongeBob goes either way, but that would make for a very long uninteresting video, and I would rather make a shorter uninteresting video. So to wrap this up, it's basically still a mystery how SpongeBob walks to work. I always thought his right way to work was past his neighbors to the left, but that might just be Help Wanted and the movie being so engraved in my head. Until we get a map of Bikini Bottom with its roads and stuff, we are just gonna have to live with the inconsistency.
Patrick,
What?
you were supposed to say hi to me.
Hi.
Oh, all right, let's take it from the top.
Hi, SpongeBob.
We all know Gary, but what many might not even know is that SpongeBob has another pet that don't receive nearly as much attention as SpongeBob Snail, even though it has appeared in many episodes.
Hey!
It's kinda crazy that the first time we see this other pet is when we see Gary for the first time, in the first episode, Help Wanted.
Today's the big day, Gary.
I don't even blame you if you missed that there is another pet in this clip, cause it's something you rarely think about, but SpongeBob has a clam in a cage right next to his bed. This pet clam appears multiple times in the first season, always in this cage right here. The clam continues to appear in a couple of episodes in both season 2 and 3, and we never get any info on it. Like, we know it's supposed to be a bird, since clams are bird in the SpongeBob universe, and Gary is a snail, which is a cat, so SpongeBob got that crazy cat and bird combo. That's just dangerous. Before we move on to later appearances, there is something else that gives us some more information about this clam, and that's on the season 1 DVD, where there is a feature called the Bikini Bottom's Up Tour, which basically lets you click around Bikini Bottom, which, I mean, that's just a dream come true. I gotta pick up this DVD set. There's surely more lore stuff here, but what's important for this video is what happens when you click the clam in SpongeBob's bedroom.
That there is SpongeBob's pet scallop, Shelly. She doesn't do much. She kinda sits there, kinda like a pet rock.
So not only do we now know that this is a scallop and not a clam, I don't know what the difference is, and I don't want to Google it because they are both kind of gross in real life, but we also got a name. This is Shelly. Shelly was actually in the pitch bible of the show, credited as singing clam in a cage, which, I mean, that's Hillenburg's word, so I'm gonna keep calling her a clam. Shelly appeared in only one season 4 episode, which was the first episode of the season, which also only was a dream sequence. But in season 5, we can see her in the background of multiple episodes.
Please? Oh, thank you!
In New Digs, when SpongeBob moves into the Krusty Krab, he even brings Shelly with him. And then in Band in Bikini Bottom, we get the first cameo appearance of Shelly, as we see SpongeBob has a framed photo of her and Gary on the same wall. Interestingly, SpongeBob has never mentioned Shelly by name or acknowledged her assistance except for this photo, and I guess bringing her with him to the Krusty Krab, but that's like a very indirect way of like making us understand he also knows she exists. Compare this to Gary, who pretty much always plays a role when he's in the scene with SpongeBob. Very rarely do we see Gary just sleeping in the background of SpongeBob's bedroom or something. He is always there to serve some kind of plot purpose. But poor neglected Shelly keeps appearing in the background 2 times in season 6, and I'm talking background, like she is a part of the painted background and very rarely animated. She was animated in Help Wanted and swinging around, but except for that she is usually just a PNG. In season 7 we got A Pal for Gary, where SpongeBob goes out of his way to find a new pet for Gary to not feel alone at home. Again, not acknowledging that there is already another pet. Matter of fact, let's go back to pre-movie and Dumped, where SpongeBob tries getting new pets as well to replace Gary. And what about in Rockabye Bivalve, where SpongeBob and Patrick literally adopt another baby clam? Or I guess scallop. That's just messed up. Shelly appears in the background of 3 more season 7 episodes, always in the same spot. The same goes for season 8.
Hey, buddy. I got something cool to show you, and it's the opposite of a wet, watery bath. Check it out!
With first 4 background appearances and then, interestingly, an empty cage in Home Sweet Rubble.
That's not exactly what I had in mind to... Whoa!
First thing we gotta do is clear out all this old junk.
2 appearances in season 9 as well, before season 10 gives us Unreal Estate, and the only time after Help Wanted where Shelly's cage is actually animated.
Ow! Good morning! Good morning! Good morning! Good morning, Gary.
Where did she go? The next appearance of the cage is with money in it and no Shelly, but before my theorizing side can come out, she does appear in the background of Life Insurance.
Yeah, I am ripped.
In 3 out of her 4 season 11 appearances, it's just the same thing with her just hanging there unnoticed, but in cuddly hugs, Cuddle actually looks straight at her and like notices her existence, which is interesting. In 3 season 12 episodes, she's just there as well, and the same goes for 4 season 13 episodes.
Didn't you hear that? Wake up!
So remember when I said SpongeBob never acknowledges Shelly's existence? Well, he does in the video games.
I had a pet clam in there, but he got out.
This is funny because while we don't see Shelly in this movie, in the second SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, we see her cage destroyed, and in a deleted scene from the same movie, we see her in there.
It's Monday! It's Monday! It's Monday!
While Shelly has not played really any role in the series so far, I would honestly not doubt that that might change soon. With how much focus has been on background and one-off characters in modern SpongeBob, I think we could get a Shelly-focused episode sometime in the future. Not that we need one, like even Paul Tibbett himself referred to Shelly as a singing bird box decoration, and not an actual character. She really does not matter at all, like Squidward's house is more of a character than Shelly. So since y'all have been liking the Bikini Bottom lore videos recently, I thought we would continue that by taking a look at the most iconic cartoon restaurant, the Krusty Krab.
Hey!
The Krusty Krab appears for the first time, like many things in this show, in the pilot, Help Wanted.
There it is. The finest eating establishment ever established for eating. The Krusty Krab, home of the Krabby Patty, with a help wanted sign in the window.
We have already talked about the inconsistency in the road to the Krusty Krab, but there will be a lot of new ones to talk about with the restaurant itself.
I've been training my whole life for the day I can join the Krusty crew.
And now I'm ready.
But the dining area is probably the most consistent one. In here we got an often changing number of tables. In the pilot it first looks to be at least 7, with us seeing 5 in the middle, but then they are kinda gone later in the episode and there's only a couple to the side.
Are you ready to rock, Squidward?
No.
Good, cause we've got customers!
Here, please hit me as hard as you can.
The boat register is pretty much always there though, and that's of course where Squidward spends most of his time in here.
Inattentive, impatient, a glazed look in the eyes. Look carefully at the "I really wish I weren't here right now" button.
Above him we got the menu, or the galley grub. The menu at the Krusty Krab changes a lot. There are often a lot of new food and drinks for specific episodes that we don't see on the menu. For example, in Pickles the menu is very short, and Bubble Ass orders something that's clearly not on there.
Double triple bossy deluxe on a raft, 4x4 animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease make it cry, burn it and let it swim.
The prices though are pretty much always way too reasonable for Mr. Krabs to run the restaurant. Like, even when he increases the prices, it's like more affordable than many places I know. Maybe he's not so bad after all.
$101 for a Krabby Patty?
With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
Now for some obscure things. Does the Krusty Krab have a soda machine? In Season 2's Born Again Krabs, after Mr. Krabs has his switch up and goes from generous back to being greedy, he takes this guy's drink to put it back into the soda machine.
No more refills!
By how he ran away here, it looks like this soda machine should be next to the cashier boat, or at least somewhere on that side. Maybe in the corner after Mr. Krab's office door. In the Season 1 episode Fools in April, when Tom asks SpongeBob to get him some ice cubes for his drink, we see SpongeBob run straight backwards. By where they are standing, it's possible that it's still located in the same place, but to my knowledge, we legit never see it again in the whole 14 seasons. The Krusty Krab has a salad bar. This one gotta be one of the most rare things in the restaurant, cause it showed up back in Season 1's Culture Shock and then never appeared again.
I just don't get it. If a free salad bar doesn't bring in customers, what will?
While we never see it again in the show, we do get the confirmation that it still exists 4 seasons later in New Digs, when Mr. Krab says this.
No! You have to punish me!
What? Okay, then wipe down a salad bar.
Aye, aye, sir.
SpongeBob's dumbass don't even know what salad is in Bossy Boots, so it's safe to say it's probably not out a lot in the restaurant. The salad bar does appear in multiple video games though, but I'm still waiting for the Season 14 episode that's gonna bring it back for an episode. There are 3 doors behind the cash register, leading to 3 different rooms. The door to the far right is to the restroom.
Now let's see how Squidward prepares for his shift.
The Krusty Krab toilets are actually not too bad. It's only like 3 of them and there's no gender separations, but like, come on, this is not a big restaurant. Most days, especially in the early seasons, it never had more than like 10 customers. In Krusty Krab training video, we see it's bilingual though, with a wash your fin sign in both English and Spanish. The door next to the restroom door, of course, leads to the kitchen.
Your workstation. It's important to keep your area tidy and free of droppings.
Here is where it gets really inconsistent. The grill is usually in the front, right under the order window, so SpongeBob can grill patties while breathing into Squidward's neck. But in multiple episodes, the grill is in the back of the restaurant, like in Season 2's Your Shoes Untied.
Ta-da! A perfect patty.
All right, SpongeBob, hand it over. Well?
Here it's instead the fryer that's under the window, but usually they are both over here. Obviously the joke wouldn't work if the grill was in front, since then he could just hand the patty over to Squidward, but in other episodes there really seems to be no reason for it moving to the back.
SpongeBob! Thanks for finally getting rid of that horse!
You're welcome, Mr. Krabs.
Now if we could just get rid of Squidward.
In Employee of the Month, the grill even moves mid-episode from being in its usual spot to being in the back instead.
Faster, SpongeBob, faster!
There's nothing to this patty flipping, Mr. Krabs. I'll easily double your output, Sponge Cog.
Boys, boys, boys!
But if you pay attention here, it actually looks like the grill is still in the front, and this is a new, way wider grill in the back. And then we got Neptune's spatula, where it's on the side of the room.
The accursed stove has burnt my finger. Feel thine own wrath, stove!
Sometimes there's a freezer in the Krusty Krab kitchen, and it can really be anywhere. Let's start with SP129 in Season 1. Here it's placed to the side when you walk in, but then if we move on to the original fry cook in Season 5, it's placed more on the side of the actual room. And then in Quarantined Crab in Season 12, it's in the back.
All I ask is that you remember me as I was, full of life.
Then we got Just One Bite in Season 1, where there is a big ass patty vault right in the middle of the kitchen, like it's taking up a lot of space.
Holy shrimp!
In Pat No Pay, we learned that this smaller vault is the refrigerator with ice inside. Shouldn't ice be in the freezer as well? Then we got the door on the left when you walk into the kitchen, and this door leads into Mr. Krab's office. Also, the last door behind the register leads there as well, but Mr. Krabs almost always walks through, I don't know, the other door, like out from the main restaurant, like from the dining area. He always takes that door, even though it would be like way faster to take his office door to get into the kitchen.
SpongeBob, you wouldn't last even one day in the wild. This is your natural habitat.
But often when he walks into the kitchen, it's to check on SpongeBob, cause the customers outside are mad or something, cause half of the Krusty Krab episodes are just about how SpongeBob can't make Krabby Patties anymore.
That's what I thought you said. Now let me offer this as a rebuttal. Stay back! I'm warning you!
Alright, now you're just acting silly.
Mr. Krab's office is kinda small, but it's really comfy. We see it in a lot of episodes, and there's not any big inconsistencies. I mean, in some episodes he has a money shower in here, and this chest can contain some different things, but it's mostly the same. In the Season 10 episode Mermaid Pants, we get some new stuff though.
You're a comic book geek!
Don't touch those! They're mint condition!
So not only do we learn that Mr. Krabs is a comic collector, but also that there is a whole secret room in here that technically would not fit in here. That goes for a lot of SpongeBob buildings. Like I said before, there are usually 3 doors on the wall behind the register. And that's true for most SpongeBob episodes, but in Season 12's Break-In we get this scene.
Employee break room?
So, to the collection of rooms we already have in the Krusty Krab, we can now add a break room. And the new rooms don't end here. There is a whole ass vent system in the Krusty Krab. In True for Square, we first get the return of the freezer in the back of the kitchen.
My ode to the Krabby Patty, made entirely out of ice.
Then they climb up at the top of the freezer to get into the very large ventilation system. These could lead to like multiple rooms that can be above or below the main restaurant, and we actually see one of them in the episode.
I think I see the exit. Ah, barnacles, it's just the surveillance room.
Oh, my house is on TV.
So Mr. Krab's got a whole surveillance room in the Krusty Krab. The Freaky Krab. Then in Chum Bucket Supreme, also in Season 6, we see even more stuff like this. Mr. Krabs is not only a freak, he is like a spy mastermind. And this is not the only time we see them underground in here. Moving forward to Season 12, we got Krabby Patty Creature feature.
Come with me, boyo.
Whoa, what is this place?
Now we got like a elevator freezer where Mr. Krabs' office door is supposed to be. Mr. Krabs says that this is his secret lab where he experiments on food, and he is paying Sandy to science up his menu. Makes sense, you know, with how like many new weird menu items that they come up with over the course of the show.
Here you go, sir. A king-size Ultra Krabby Supreme with the works, double batter fried, on a stick.
Thanks.
Barnacle head.
Then we got a drive-thru that we see in the episode Drive-Thru of the same season, and then like a couple of other appearances.
SpongeBob, your man in the drive-thru.
When do we get a drive-thru?
I realize there's a lot of young people on the go these days. They don't have time to sit down and eat.
Then we got the storage room that we see in Accidents Will Happen in Season 8.
What's all the ruckus?
It looks to be connected to the kitchen, but that means that there is even more doors in here. And of course we can't forget that in multiple episodes the door in the back leads outside. For example, in the Splinter.
Patrick?
Yeah?
Thank goodness you're there. I got a splinter in my thumb and...
Oh, I see. Well, I'm pretty booked today, but I think I can fit you in.
Thanks, Patrick.
But then, in other episodes, there is no door here. Then in the Season 10 episode, Lost and Found, we get more underground stuff.
Is there a ladder?
Yes. Here's the ladder, boyo.
Down here is a gigantic Lost and Found area with everything that has gotten lost in the Krusty Krab, including old referenced items and living people. So we have talked about SpongeBob's house a couple of times already, but a house that might even be more interesting is the one next to it. Today we are doing a deep dive on 122 Conch Street, aka Squidward's house.
Hey!
Squidward's house is obviously in more episodes than SpongeBob's garage or library, so while we got a wider scope here, it's only right to start off with its first appearance. Well, we see the exterior of it in the first minutes of the show, but I'm talking about the first time we see the inside of it, and that's in Bubble Stand.
And now for some soothing sounds from Squidward's clarinet. Thank you, thank you.
Squidward's gallery is very iconic. It's only fitting that that's the first room we see in this house. We can see in later episodes that this room is full of self-portraits, full. After this, Squidward walks outside, so there's really not much more to talk about here, but if you go just 2 episodes forward, we got jellyfishing, which will give us some more of his house.
Welcome home, Squidward!
Merry Christmas!
Squidward's first floor is also iconic. Here we can see more of what I talked about a few videos ago with the Hawaiian aesthetic that just makes this whole house look so comfy, and I really want to live here. More than SpongeBob's house, to be honest. I think SpongeBob's house is fire, but Squidward's house is something else. It's just so calming. Now, most of the time we see it, it's not very calm and he is getting jumped in here by Patrick and SpongeBob, but the house itself is relaxing to me. The first big contradiction with Squidward's house starts with the next episode, Plankton.
Be quiet, SpongeBob! SpongeBob, what are you doing?
So here is the first time we see Squidward's bedroom, and they put it on the first floor, so SpongeBob can walk right through it from outside. This is of course not a contradiction since it's the first appearance, but to my knowledge it's the only time his bedroom is not on the second floor. Or I guess it technically could be on the first floor in multiple episodes where SpongeBob don't literally walk through his house, so we can't know. There is a lot of times you can't really confirm what floor they are on, but I think one of Squidward's windows on the second floor is in the gallery and the other is in his bedroom. Which we see in Breath of Fresh Squidward, and other times when Squidward is woken up by SpongeBob and screams at him through his window. And in the camping episode in Season 3, we see this.
Finally the weekend is here. And this isn't just any old weekend. This is the weekend SpongeBob and Patrick go camping.
Here we can see the left window being lit up as Squidward is getting ready to go to bed. Pretty obviously at least hinting that that's where he is at right now. We also see that the door to our right of Squidward's bed leads to a bathroom. But it's not his only bathroom. This top one contains his bathtub and shower and toilet of course. It's here we see him in the first movie, for example. Then his second bathroom is on the bottom floor and you enter it through his living room, which we can see in multiple episodes as well, like House Fancy in Season 6.
SpongeBob, what was that noise? Skin me alive and drench me in boiling oil! What have you done to my living room? I told you just to paint the faded spot!
Well, it all looked kind of faded.
It looks very familiar to his bathroom on the top floor, seems to even have a shower as well. But these bathrooms are actually somewhat consistent. The door next to Squidward's bed is there in a lot of episodes. Now let's talk about something that's not in a lot of episodes. Many might not know this, but Squidward's house actually has an elevator that we first see back in the Season 1 episode, Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost.
Remember, Patrick, finders keepers.
So after home invading Squidward, we can clearly see SpongeBob and Patrick take the elevator to the second floor, which got me thinking, is this elevator in more episodes? Yeah, it appeared in Sandy's rocket, which is actually before Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, but this time it takes you to his bedroom and not his gallery. And that's also where we see it return in Sanctuary in Season 9, now with the window.
Oh, this has got to stop!
bro can afford 2 personal elevators on a cashier's salary. But going back to his gallery in Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, we can see that next to the elevator that's only here in this episode, we got a wooden door. And it's here Squidward comes through when he walks out of the bathroom.
He's pushing up daisies.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
The way it looks here, it seems to hint that there is a third bathroom connected to the gallery, but I think there are 2 possible explanations. Either this door leads to the bedroom, so we walked out of the bathroom, into the bedroom and now into the gallery, or the bathroom on the 2nd floor has 2 doors, with one leading to the gallery and one to the bedroom. Or of course there is a third option, that it's a kids cartoon. Don't worry guys, I know that. Now we gotta talk about something else that we see in Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost. Despite how very not wide it looks for the outside, Squidward's house has some really long and kind of liminal hallways.
Patrick, are you ready for this?
Yes?
Okay, let's go. Patrick, are you coming?
Yes?
Patrick, it's this way.
Where?
Here.
Oh! Coming!
This hallway and closet seems to be located on the bottom floor. The walls have the same green colors as the living room compared to the top floor, with red walls in the gallery and blue walls in the bedroom. And the bathroom has like purple-pink walls, which is kinda crazy, like Squidward's house has walls of every color. We can see this in this frame from, I actually don't know which episode, but this shows us that his house has 3 floors, 1 of each color. I mean, it would make sense with the elevator, but it don't make sense with how the windows at the same height are to the bedroom and gallery, so they gotta be on like the same floor. But that's not entirely true, because in one of Squidward's bathrooms, the top one, there is a window right at the shower. So that makes 3 windows, but there's more. Well, this 4th one isn't really contradicting anything, because it's on the bottom floor and leads to his backyard. And we see it for the first time in season 1 in Naughty Nautical Neighbors. This window is somewhat consistent, appearing as recently as in season 11's Bunny Hunt, which is an episode that also gives us a good look at Squidward's backyard.
Typical. I always forget something.
While if we go back to the window's first appearance in season 1, Squidward clearly does not have a big garden. He does in this episode, with fences and everything. And it's not the first time we have seen Squidward growing stuff in his yard. We even saw it with smaller fences back in season 5's Squidward.
Hi, Squidward. Wanna play?
No! And leave me alone!
Okay, Squidward. See you later.
Making everything come full circle, in this episode Squidward not only has a garden in his backyard, Squidward also has a library.
Perhaps I can find solitude in the printed word.
Hey, Squidward. Wanna play? Okay, Squidward. See you later.
While not quite as big as SpongeBob's library, Squidward's library still looks really comfy, and we see it again in I Heart Dancing.
Huh? What, is he still at it?
So now it's not an elevator there anymore, but a door that leads to, I think, another hallway. It doesn't have the same wall colors as the other one, but it looks kind of like an optical illusion with how the same painting is behind the door and in front of the door. In Snowball Effect, we also see that Squidward has a fireplace on the top floor.
Warm fire, cozy slippers. Why do I even bother?
The fireplace is clearly also located in the gallery with the red walls and how Squidward walks up to the windows in it, or the window singular.
Major stupidity. You and General Nonsense over there will have to fight without me. Got them both.
Going back to the bottom floor, Squidward not only has a living room and a toilet here, he also of course has a kitchen in the same room as the living room, as we can see in Naughty Nautical Neighbors, where we see the window at the back and the front door in the same shots. Basically the entire bottom floor except for the bathroom is connected without any doors. In many SpongeBob episodes, Squidward's house is just gone. Sometimes we just see SpongeBob and Patrick's house next to each other with no Squidward's house in the middle of them. This could be explained by how Squidward's house is literally alive.
Nobody! Not even Squidward's house.
This is not the only instant either. It gets annoyed with SpongeBob in Funny Pants, coughs and screams in Bunny Hunt, and even talks in multiple episodes.
Oh well, I needed to lose a little weight anyway.
So it's safe to say Squidward's house might wander off sometimes. Maybe the security system from Good Neighbors is still activated and it has legs and arms still. That's horrifying. The bosses in SpongeBob are very iconic. I feel like I start every lore video by using that word, but this is a very iconic show. If you like overthinking everything about SpongeBob like I do, you might have thought about the buses at some point. Where do they really go to, and where are the bus stops in Bikini Bottom?
Hey!
The first appearance of buses in SpongeBob is in the first episode, Help Wanted. But what we see here is that there is no bus stop at the Krusty Krab. Well, clearly the buses stop here, but there is no like bus stop sign in sight. And this continue with the next time we see buses, which is in I Was a Teenage Gary, where one stops at SpongeBob's house on Conch Street.
The bus is here! The bus is here! Come on, SpongeBob! Jellyfishing, jellyfishing!
The bus stops at Conch Street in other episodes as well, and in Dumped we see a bus sign on the other side of SpongeBob's house on the Conch Street road. In the Pink Purloiner in Season 4 there is a bus stop on the same side, but by the looks of it, it's a bit further towards Patrick's house.
So, this is it?
Barring the unforeseen hand of fate? I'm afraid it is.
Patrick, don't go! I'm sorry I accused you.
However, earlier in the episode we see the bus stop more in the middle, leaning towards SpongeBob's house.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, SpongeBob!
We do see a bus stop at Patrick's house in Hooky as well, where a bus drops off Patrick after he has gotten caught by the hooks.
Oh, does somebody have a can opener?
I will count this all as the same bus stop though. It's at most like 20 feet away from SpongeBob's house. And the bus stopping at SpongeBob's house, or like closer, is something we also see in Roller Cowards.
Oh, look, the bus is here!
Wait for me, Patrick! Woo! Fiery fist of pain! Here we come!
In Gary's new toy, we get another view of the Conch Street bus stop, looking to be now to our right of SpongeBob's house.
Do you smell something burning?
This might actually be a different bus stop because of it switching sides and being a bit further away, but I mean it's still close. Maybe they like broke the last one. So I'm just stupid. First of all, this is not the first time we see it on the Conch Street side of the road, on the house's side, but also obviously there has to be two different bus stations on the Conch Street because you take one for each direction. Because we have seen them take the bus to the left and to the right. So yeah, you just kinda ignore that. There are 2 different bus stops on Corn Street. In Hocus Pocus, it's here as well.
I don't care where you're going, just take me away from here.
Then take one card and shove it in your ear.
And in Breath of Fresh Squidward, we see the same thing with a bus dropping Squidward off in front of his house.
Good night, Squidward!
Hey, Patrick, did you notice something different about Squidward?
New glasses?
Obviously, when I'm talking about the buses, we can't not mention the most memorable appearance of them. Well, the scene in Help Wanted is memorable too, but Rock Bottom is all about buses.
Let me get my wallet.
In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick take the bus from Glove World, leaving Bikini Bottom and going to Rock Bottom.
Hey, SpongeBob?
Yeah, Patrick?
Where's leaving Bikini Bottom?
Where did you see that?
We just passed the sign. You are now in leaving Bikini Bottom.
What?
What's wrong, SpongeBob?
Patrick, I think we're on the wrong...
Rock Bottom is not even the last stop, like buses leave to both directions here.
But sir, we need to get back to Bikini Bottom.
Oh well.
Where is this, SpongeBob?
And later in the episode, we see Patrick going back to Rock Bottom with the bus driving past the houses on Corn Street.
Home at last.
Don't worry, SpongeBob, I'm coming back for you!
Now, if they actually are on the wrong bus is up for debate. I mean, yeah, SpongeBob said it, but it's not like they were paying attention to the stations going by.
Show me what you got at Glove World.
Okay, here's my glove light.
Wow.
I see you. Bob!
I got gloves for my glove action figure.
Cool.
But Patrick does go by Corn Street at the end of the episode. Now, it is Patrick, so he might be on the wrong bus, but we know he did get back to Bikini Bottom on the bus that he took from Rock Bottom.
Hey, SpongeBob, the bus is here!
But the bus also stops at the Krusty Krab, so let's go back there. The Krusty Krab didn't have a bus stop sign in Help Wanted, and the same goes for Graveyard Shift and Band in Bikini Bottom, where buses stop there.
Hello!
And also in Season 7's Squidward in Clarinetland. In all of these episodes, the buses just stop in front of the Krusty Krab with no bus sign. In Wishing You Well in Season 4, the bus drives on the backside of the Krusty Krab, where there now is a road.
The only thing I wish for is to be far away from here.
Bye, Squidward. Enjoy your trip.
Lucky.
In this episode, it's different though. 1, the bus doesn't stop here, it drives straight by, and 2, he did wish to be taken away in a wishing well, so the bus just spawned in, probably. Another one that shouldn't count is in Chum Bucket Supreme, where the bus stops at the Chum Bucket.
You fellas look hungry.
As we can see, this is a bus dedicated to the Bikini Bottom hockey team, so it won't go by the usual bus routes, And the same goes for Grandmom's the Word.
Hi, Grandma!
That's a Shady Shoals bus, which is the retirement home in Bikini Bottom where Plankton's grandma lives, so that bus has an agenda as well. But it does stop at the same place that normal buses have before, so it really doesn't change anything. Now, if you have watched my video on which way the Krusty Krab is from SpongeBob's house, which got set to YouTube Kids without me having any say, by the way, you would know that after me yapping for 10 minutes, the conclusion was ultimately that we don't know. So placing the Krusty Krab on the Glove World to Rock Bottom route is gonna be hard. Also, we have no idea if it's the same bus route or how many different buses there are in Bikini Bottom. The season 12 episode Squids on a Bus naturally has a lot of important bus lore for us and even starts at a bus stop.
Where's that bus? I've been waiting for almost an hour!
Almost an hour, he says.
So now we got a bus stop on the houses side of Conch Street again. And this is the bus that Squidward takes to work.
Oh, it smells like a narwhal's armpit in here!
Alright, that's it!
Krusty Krab!
Squidward is a backseat driver, so he and the bus driver gets into beef and decide to switch jobs to prove the others is easier.
Oh, I like this. Good morning.
The first bus stop is impossible to place. It's an old woman in sand with no houses around, and that's the case for many of the bus appearances in SpongeBob. You don't really know where they're at. The next one is in the same boat with SpongeBob getting on.
This stop is Coral Boulevard. Thank you for riding with your merry bus driver, and have a beautiful day.
We don't see the Conch Street houses in the background, and clearly his ass ain't working, so he could really be anywhere. He even admits later that he don't have a stop to get off on, since it's his bus riding day. We see the bus driving over a bridge, or whatever you call this, like a highway in the sky. This takes him into the Bikini Bottom city, and the next stop is Patrick in the middle of nowhere. How do y'all even get here? I have no idea where this place is, where everyone is getting off, but Squidward keeps driving, or actually he forgets to drive.
Who's driving?
Well, I am, of course. And wow!
At this point, we kinda can't read into it anymore, cause if I'm not mistaken, that was probably not the right way to the next stop. However, what we do know from this one is that the bus goes past Squidward's house, past Patrick's house, to get to the Krusty Krab. So basically our left when looking at the houses. Going back to the Pink Purloiner, this episode showed them going from Jellyfish Fields to Conch Street, but we also saw them get off at Jellyfish Fields at the start of the episode.
You know, Patrick, the jellyfish migration is my favorite time of year.
No bus sign, but they get off at the Jellyfish Field sign, and later when they are going back, we see a bus sign.
I would kill for a net like that. You know, something small like a carrot. But not spiders, they're icky.
Here we also see the bus coming from our left, putting Jellyfish Fields on that side of the route as well. Realistically, that would be further away from Conch Street than the Krusty Krab, but who knows, like, the bus could be driving in circles for all I know. Sandcastles in the sand shows SpongeBob and Patrick get on the bus at maybe Conch Street?
Little sunscreen and I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm spending the whole day at the beach with my best friend.
You're hurting me!
Like, they were just in Patrick's house before, but we don't see where they get on. This bus takes them to Goo Lagoon, but we can't place it on the bus route since it isn't shown to be connected to any of the other bus stops. And we don't even see the Goo Lagoon stop since they are kicked off the bus a bit before getting there. In Texas, we see that there is a bus stop near Sandy's Tree Dome.
It'd be too sad.
No, wait! Sandy!
We also see in this scene that the Krusty Krab is very close to Sandy's Tree Dome, but we never see a bus between the two locations. And in Chimps Ahoy, we see probably the same bus stop again.
So long, Bikini Bottom. I can't leave without a goodbye. But please don't think bad of me if I start to cry.
Then in A Flea in Her Dome, the bus stops very close to Sandy's house, and the same thing happens in House Sitting for Sandy, where the bus is set for Texas. Matter of fact, in all of these bus appearances, it's Sandy going to or returning from Texas. So, I mean, it could be fair to assume that this could be a different bus than the Bikini Bottom bus, one that like only leaves in that direction, to Texas or whatever land. I would say the same about the bus that flies to the island in the sky in Clash of Triton. But I mean, it's possible it's after Rock Bottom or Glove World on either side. It's just no way of knowing with these one-off stops that we only see them get off at. The last episode I would like to look at, I think it would be fitting to do the like sequel to Help Wanted, I guess, SpongeBob.
Krabby Patty! Krabby Patty!
SpongeBob follows the anchovy into the bus, which goes from the Krusty Krab to our left and stops at Goofy Goobers. After that, it goes to a sunglasses store and then a mattress store, and after this it ends up at Conch Street. Coming from the right direction as well. Or like the left direction. But yeah. Unless more episodes with detailed bus routes come out, or we get a map or something, it's gonna be very hard to place most of these stops. But we actually got an official map. Don't get mad at me for saving it to the end, I needed some kind of twist, and the twist is actually real for me as well, because the video was almost done before I remembered someone had sent this to me on Twitter. Shout out to Glistlow, you made my video almost have a point. So we have 5 different like lines or times that the buses go by. This is way too complicated for me, to be honest. I only know how to keep track of if they are going to left or right. But the red is every 3 minutes, which is crazy, because that means there is a bus going by Conch Street 20 times an hour. Probably not the same bus, but yeah. But this also says that every 20th minute a bus drives between SpongeBob and Squidward's house on the scenic routes. I don't think Squiddy would like that very much. This is already hurting my head, but by the looks of it, they are saying you take the bus to the right to get to the Krusty Krab, which don't seem correct from what we have seen. That's the only way you can get from Conch Street to the Krusty Krab without switching buses halfway. This also means you can't take a bus from Conch Street to Rock Bottom. Technically that could be true since we never saw Patrick go there or the bus driving by. Here you take the green line, which apparently is only 3 times a week, to get from Glove World to Rock Bottom. But not down to Rock Bottom actually, as the last stop there is before you hit rock bottom. The scenic route goes to rock bottom though, although it doesn't connect to Glove World. So what are we even doing? We have talked about 2 of the 3 houses on SpongeBob's iconic street, so it's only right we take a look at the 3rd one. 120 Corn Street, aka Patrick's Rock, is what we are doing a deep dive on today.
Hey!
Patrick's Rock is just that, a rock. But somehow it ends up being probably the most complicated and interesting building in Bikini Bottom I have talked about yet. In Help Wanted we get our first look of it, very briefly.
Go SpongeBob!
So here we see that his home is very small under the rock, with just a lamp, a chair and a TV. But the next time we see the inside in Home Sweet Pineapple, it's even smaller.
Good night, SpongeBob.
Good night, Rockmate. Good night, Gary.
Here we see Patrick's Rock is only used as a blanket since there is absolutely no space underneath.
Is it time already to ruin Squid's day? Hey, SpongeBob, don't start without me!
We also learn in this episode that he made this house himself.
We can't build a house?
Well, sure, it's easy. I built my house all by myself.
The version of Patrick's house with just a TV chair and lamp is pretty consistent though, at least throughout the first seasons, with it looking like this in Season 3's Rockabye Bivalve.
I'm going back to work!
Work!
He got hit in the head with 2 coconuts!
So, this is work?
You know, it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes I gotta move the antenna.
But then in the secret box, the season before, things change a lot as Patrick's house is now a lot bigger on the inside.
Sizzle frenzy! Who's the...
Now he don't even have the chair and TV, but a lot more space and a bed. This is obviously contradicting how he slept in both Home Sweet Pineapple and how he often sleeps just stuck to the rock, like the sea star he is. Also in Season 2 we got I'm With Stupid, where we get some important lore.
Need furniture!
Patrick, what for the home improvement?
Patrick makes his own furniture out of sand. This is, I'm pretty sure, the first instance of this happening, but it will pretty much be canon moving on.
Oh, I know where...
Oh, let me lead the way so we don't get lost, huh? Hold hands now. Okay, we're almost there. Let go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Good job!
In this episode, Patrick has created like a real house interior. He has a sand TV instead of the real TV we see in other episodes, and he has a sand couch and even other rooms.
So, what's on your mind? No, wait! I already know the answer. Nothing! See, that's funny, 'cause you're dumb!
I don't know why, but the doorway being made out of sand makes this house so crazily comfy. Like, I almost take back what I said in the video about Squidward's house, cause I wanna live here as well.
And don't worry, I'll keep this warm for you.
I have a confession to make. I lied about being stupid.
Then at the end of the episode, it looks like the house has imploded and it's now just some sand on the same level as the rock, like in Home Sweet Pineapple. And then if we move on to Season 4, we got Patrick Smartpants.
Are you better, Pat? what you doing?
Just studying this amazing subspecies.
I'll show you subspecies!
Wanna visit Squidward?
Well, since I am finished with my work, I'll humor you in your trivial pursuits.
Here the interior looks pretty much similar to I'm With Stupid, with the same holes in the sand as doors.
Why have we grown apart? I must apply all that I know to solve this problem.
Then later in the episode we see some mixture with real books on the sand shelf. So I guess sand books are out of the question. Well, it's Patrick, so it's not like books are gonna be very important for the lore here. In Bummer Vacation, also in season 4, he has the same big space, but nothing here at all.
Who do they think they are? I've given the best years of my life to this place and they think they can just fire me like that? Like trash? I don't think so.
SpongeBob? Is that you?
I've been waiting for you, Patrick!
Moving on to season 5, we got 2 shorter episodes that both take place primarily in here, so we gotta take a look at them. And first we got Rise and Shine. Here Patrick has yet again some sand furniture, but a real clock. We see him get some food out of a sand locker, and then he watches a sand TV that actually works.
And now, live from Bikini Bottom, it's Bikini Bottom Live!
Next we see that he even has stairs, not just holes in walls. This episode so far shows the most intricate design of Patrick's house, and that continues with his next scene.
Pants. A clean mouth is a happy mouth. Done.
Patrick even has a bathroom? That can't be used a lot. Even a sand bathtub, bro really went all out for this episode. And the other season 5 short that showcases his house is the Donut of Shame.
A beautiful specimen of donuthood. A donut this nice deserves to be served on fine china!
Now that's actually crazy. If you pause, we can see Patrick's basic interior design with the chair, lamp and TV, but as soon as he jumps down, it's back to the big sand home. Then later in the episode, we see Patrick flush the donut down a sand toilet, and then we get one of my favorite jokes in the entire post-movie SpongeBob.
The attic! Wait, I don't have an attic! Oh, I know! The attic!
That attic joke is just so funny to me. Going back to season 4, in the pink purloiner we see Patrick's house might be even bigger than we saw before. Or I guess after.
Patrick, where are you? Why are the lights off?
I'm in here. Down a second.
Oh, reliable.
Hello.
What's in your hand, Patrick?
Here it looks like Patrick's house can have more than one floor. I mean, it's possible with how shapeable the sand is. In season 7's Growth Spout, when Mr. Krabs break into Patrick's house, we see he has a fridge with food in it.
After all, it's for a worthy cause, me beloved Pearl. Don't worry, Pearl. Daddy found you some victuals. Bottom feeders.
So Patrick's sand might not be as compact as we have seen before. This could explain why Patrick's house changes so much, because it falls apart and stuff all the time. Patrick bounces around the house a lot, so that's not unbelievable that he would have to rebuild. In Rule of Thumb, Patrick's rock is rebuilt into a castle.
Yes, sire?
I need your opinion on something. Do you think the giant flat-screen TV should go over the fancy egg display or the indoor swimming pool?
But that means a lot of new rooms and stuff is added, and most of it ain't even in sand, so it's not really relevant. Also, this episode sucks. In the Season 9 episode Patrick the Game, Patrick has a sand clock, and his home seems kind of shrunken down compared to the last appearances we have looked at.
Good evening. Please step into my gameatorium.
More like a lamatorium. Ha.
Welcome, gamers.
In Pat the Horse in Season 11, we start the episode at the Rock, where SpongeBob is reading a bedtime story to Patrick.
Okay, Patrick, one more book, then you go to sleep, Kay?
Okay.
This one is called You Can Be Anything.
I can be anything?
This, if anything, confirms that Patrick can build new furniture really fast, cause I have never even seen a chair this close to a bed before. At least put it into the corner of the room. Like, do you want someone to sit there and stare at you while you sleep? What? Then in the Season 12 episode Shell Games, we get kind of a crazy twist with Patrick's rock actually being a turtle's shell.
Oh boy! How long was I out? Ugh, long enough for all this crud to get stuck on my shell. Oh, nasty!
This is not canon, like, get this stuff out of here, it's a rock. Also in Season 12 we have a Pat Heart Squid, where Squidward moves in with Patrick after the 8th trillion Squidward house destruction.
You can take my bed, Squiddy old buddy.
Well, maybe it won't be so bad staying here after all.
Sleep tight, don't let the sand mites bite. But if they do, just let me know and I'll smash them.
In this episode, Patrick has a bedroom for Squidward, while he himself hangs from the rock ceiling.
What is this place? Squidward, did you do all this?
Well, I figured if I have to stay here, I might as well make it livable.
The rest of the episode has the house changed, since Squidward makes it more like his own home.
Well, Patrick, time for another lovely day in the flower garden of life.
I love you, Brick. I love you, Brick.
So yet again I forgot to record an ending. I was editing and realized that I was at the end of the video with no type of conclusion, so I'm back now sometime later. So if there is anything to take away from this video, it's that Patrick's house is the most inconsistent house on Conch Street, for good reason, since it's basically all made out of sand. Whether you wanna view the rock being Tony's shell as something that is canon or not, it's up to you. But with how Patrick's rock has gotten destroyed multiple times over the course of the show, it don't really make sense with how he supposedly had been sleeping in there for 30 years.
I overslept a little.
A little? Your appointment was for 30 years ago.
30 years? Oh! Hey, I never was a morning person.
To me, Patrick is living under a rock with some sand furniture and sometimes real furniture. And that's good enough for me. I wanna talk about some other houses, like, you know, Sandy's Tree Dome, Mr. Krab's house. But I would also like to do more obscure topics with these lore videos, like the ones I did on SpongeBob's house, which I find more interesting, so we'll see what's next. So something I have been thinking about for like the longest time somehow is the timeline of SpongeBob SquarePants. I actually started working on a chronological timeline for the show, like back before I even made my first video. But I think it's time to start again and document it right here on the channel. Quickly before we start, subscribe. Someone told me I should say that in a video, so y'all better listen. So to start this timeline off, we need to place 1 or 2 episodes as anchor points. While I would like to just start by plopping down like Help Wanted as the first episode at the start and then move on from there, it's not quite that easy. Yes, in Help Wanted, SpongeBob gets hired at the Krusty Krab, which means it takes place before every episode where he works there. But there are a lot of episodes that does not take place here. And there's really no way to prove an episode like Reef Blower or Bubble Stand that takes place after he got hired at the Krusty Krab. Matter of fact, there's a case for many episodes taking place before Help Wanted, with how SpongeBob is the only one who can cook Krabby Patties, and yet he seems to have a day off in more than half of the episodes. It's not too far-fetched to assume that when SpongeBob goofs around in episodes like Jellyfish Jam and The Gift of Gum, Jim or someone else is working as the fry cook. Instead, let's start with an easy one. UG, aka SpongeBob BC, is the first episode of the show, canonically, as it takes place in prehistoric Bikini Bottom.
Tabanga Gary Puga, Tabanga Arthur, Gok or Sailor, Tabanga Do, Tabanga Do.
Tabanga Do? Tabanga Do?
Now the prehistoric parts of SP1-9 takes place before that, as the ancestors are even less civilized there. But we are going by the chronological order of episodes, and SP1-9 as an episode follows the real Squidward, SpongeBob and Patrick, just with time travel. It's gonna get even more confusing if we're gonna put episodes in multiple spots of the timeline for like flashbacks and stuff, so UG is the first episode. Instead of Help Wanted, I would like to place a Tea at the Tree Dome next. Unfortunately, there is no way to relate this episode directly to Help Wanted, so we'll just have to save that one for now. But Tea at the Tree Dome shows the first time SpongeBob meets Sandy.
Oh, what's your name?
Sandy. So, what do y'all call yourself? I'm SpongeBob!
This means that every appearance of Sandy, where SpongeBob is present, which is gonna be like every one of them, is after Tea at the Tree Dome. And with that in mind, we can try placing some more episodes. In pre-hibernation week, Sandy is preparing to go into hibernation for the winter. SpongeBob and her interacts a lot here, and it's here SpongeBob is introduced to the concept of hibernation.
I'm hibernating next week.
Hibernating? What's that?
It's when I go to sleep for the whole winter.
Can I do that?
No, silly. It's a mammalian thing.
Then we got Survival of the Idiots, where SpongeBob and Patrick break into her tree dome, where she is hibernating.
Look, she's on the eating channel.
Howdy! If y'all are watching this, that means I'm asleep for the winter. This sleep is called hibernation.
So we can put Survival of the Idiots after pre-hibernation week. I was thinking about placing Christmas Who between these, since in Christmas Who, Sandy shows up to teach SpongeBob about Christmas, you know, with it being wintertime.
Ain't you never seen a Christmas tree before?
Christmas who?
What? Y'all never heard of Christmas?
Is she a friend from Texas?
No! I can't believe y'all haven't heard about Christmas.
And then she disappears from the episode, like, completely. Presumably going into hibernation as the snow comes. But something else we see in Survival of the Idiots is that this is SpongeBob's first time seeing snow.
Look at this!
What is this stuff?
And in Christmas Who, there is snow.
Hey guys, where's your Christmas spirit? He's just running late.
He probably just stopped for a snack! Fat guys get hungry, right?
Yeah!
So I'll put Christmas Who after Survival of the Idiots, just for the snow thing. Now it gets interesting, cause not only should every episode where SpongeBob is around snow be after Survival of the Idiots, also every episode that mentions Christmas should be after Christmas Who, since that's where everyone first learns about it. And there's a lot of episodes where snow or Christmas is present or mentioned. Let's talk about jellyfishing. In this episode, Patrick says this.
Welcome home, Squidward!
Merry Christmas!
So this episode is after Christmas Who. We know that, but something else that's interesting in this episode is this interaction between Squidward and Patrick.
I can't think of anything I'd love to do more on my day off than go jellyfishing with my two best friends, SpongeBob and...
Patrick!
Right.
So here Squidward does not know Patrick's name. It seems like he does know him, just not enough to remember his name. I'm seeing this as proof that this episode probably takes place before most episodes where the two interact in more meaningful ways. I think Squidward will remember Patrick's name after what he did to him in this episode though.
Firmly grasp it! That'll do it.
But Christmas Who, which gotta take place before, since Patrick knew what Christmas was in jellyfishing, shows this interaction.
Here you go, Patrick.
Whoa! A wristwatch!
Here he knows Patrick's name. Not a crazy contradiction or anything, but I would hesitate against putting many more episodes where he knows Patrick's name before jellyfishing, since he seems to know Patrick well in a lot of episodes.
Patrick, you only live 400 yards away. Why do you want to check into a hotel?
Sometimes I just need to get away from it all.
Let's talk about another episode where Christmas is mentioned, Wishing You Well.
I don't get it.
If you don't stand so close, you're making me claustrophobic.
What does claustrophobic mean?
It means he's afraid of Santa Claus.
No, it doesn't.
Ho, ho, ho!
Stop it, Patrick! You're scaring him!
Ho, ho, ho!
Not only is Christmas referenced, but Squidward also calls Patrick by name here.
Patrick, get off of me! I told you I am claustrophobic!
Nice try, Squidward, but there's no Santa Claus here!
Patrick!
This makes a good case for it being after jellyfishing. When Squidward gets out of here, it's morning, meaning they spent the whole night together down here. Yet again, just like getting a jellyfish net through your hand, he's gonna remember Patrick's name, especially after saying it multiple times down here. And here I essentially get stuck. It's not hard to line up some more episodes like this. For example, Help Wanted, Plankton and Fun are in that order, since SpongeBob gets his job at the Krusty Krab in Help Wanted, meets Plankton at the Krusty Krab in Plankton, and then meets him again, knowing him in Fun. But to my knowledge, there is no way that I can place these accordingly to the episodes that are on the timeline already. Sandy, Christmas and Snow is not connected to any of these three, and Plankton and the Krusty Krab aren't connected enough to the episodes on the timeline. Help Wanted can't be connected to Tree at the Tree Dome, which is really annoying since that would help a lot. What we might be able to place is some episodes that take place after Wishing You Well, since that's at the end of the timeline right now. But it's hard to place episodes between the ones that are here, since you need something concrete to connect that one to both episodes around it. And yeah, I can't really do anything from here. Any tips or something is appreciated, but to continue this series, I'll essentially have to start over, like going from Help Wanted or taking other episodes. I can't place any more according to the episodes that are already here. So it's not really gonna be a timeline, it's gonna be tons of smaller timelines. But let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. If there is even anyone who has been watching this far. To prove that, comment down below what lore video on SpongeBob you would like to see in the future. Also, again, shout out to the commenter that gave me this idea. basically giving me 3 hours worth of free content that I already uploaded. I probably won't do another video like this unless I get like 2 more hours of SpongeBob lore videos or something. Good night.